last night, Ted Cruz was, I don't know, I guess this is in the run-up to President Obama's speech. I mean, Ted Cruz is, I mean, this is really stunning. And, you know, we are looking at a situation now where you can almost see the structure of the forces that are pushing us into a broader war. I don't know how you can call it anything but that. In Iraq, the chest thumping that is going on. Here's Ted Cruz. I want to say being interviewed by Wolf Blitzer, but it's really just you're just handing them the mic because Wolf Blitzer doesn't ask a follow-up question. Let's break this down. Here's Ted Cruz talking about ISIS.
You want to expand the air attacks against ISIS in Iraq and then begin them in Syria as well, right?
The objective should not be Iraq or Syria. The objective should be taking out ISIS, preventing them from attacking America. And what's been missing so far, we've had an air attack here, we've had a bomber missile there, but it has been photo op for...
Okay. First off, you can say that ISIS is not intrinsic to Syria and Iraq, but you'd be wrong. The name you just said, Ted Cruz, is the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. But this is, again, the way that these war hawks will avoid really dealing with the issue, and it's really just about chest thumping. Now, you can also say, we've had a bombing here, a missile attack there, 150 such attacks, a tempo that is greater than we have actually been engaged in Afghanistan, or anywhere else in the world, for that matter. Continue.
Policy. It hasn't been driven by a concrete military objective directly connected to our national security. So we should do what is necessary, using overwhelming force, to take ISIS out before they secure control and before they use the revenues they're getting control of to project force and to carry out terror here at home.
Because one of the problems...
Take control of what? Is what Wolf Blitzer would say. 30 seconds ago, you just said this is not about Iraq and Syria. What is it that they're going to take control over? This is all just BS. It's gibberish.
It's debate school gibberish.
Back it up just a second and you roll again.
The revenues they're getting control of to project force and to carry out terror here at home.
Because one of the problems, if you don't have boots on the ground in Syria, you do have some good intelligence in Iraq. You know more or less where they are. Syria, the U.S. doesn't have that kind of ground intelligence. You really need some people there who could coordinate.
Now Wolf Blitzer's ignoring the fact that we also have some problem with ground troops in Iraq. Insofar as we know that airstrikes alone are not going to take out ISIS, right? We're going to have to do it with our partners who, in the first instance, when faced with 200 to 800 fighters in Mosul, basically just left town, thousands of them. But Wolf Blitzer's asking about, well, how will we spot where we're supposed to bomb people in Syria? Now, it's possible that we may be working with Assad, although that seems less likely. It's far more likely and obvious that there's only one way for us to get that intelligence, and that is through Iran, which has maybe Iranians or fighters or has a relationship with Assad. I mean, they're the only ones we would get this intelligence from. And here's Ted Cruz ostensibly answering the question that Wolf Blitzer asked. How will we know where to bomb in Syria?
Where these bombs will go. Otherwise, a lot of innocent civilians are going to be killed.
What we shouldn't be doing is partnering with those who are enemies of this country. So at times, for example, the administration has suggested we might partner with Iran. Look, ISIS are radical Islamic terrorists who want to kill us. But Khomeini and the mullahs in Iran are also radical
State
Islamic
Department
terrorists.
says they don't want to coordinate.
Pause it. Now, for those of you who are in maybe in elementary school, Khomeini is dead. Maybe he meant someone else in Iran, but he hasn't. Maybe he meant Khomeini, or maybe he just hasn't boned up on it lately. But you'll notice that he did not answer Wolf Blisser's question. He just basically said, well, I'll tell you what we don't want to do. I mean, this is the functional equivalent of saying, like, we need to play some tennis, but I'll tell you what we should not do is use rackets. I don't know. And he doesn't even have the shame for his mind to say, but let me fill the vacuum of what we're going to play tennis with. He doesn't even acknowledge that he's saying, well, we're not going to play tennis. Let's continue.
With Iran.
Well, that is encouraging today, but it has changed. It has changed on almost a daily basis. It wasn't too many months ago when the Obama administration was arguing for arming the rebels in Syria who were fighting alongside ISIS. And in this instance, the enemy of our enemy is not necessarily our friend.
Some of those Free Syrian Army guys are fighting along the sides of al-Nusra, another terrorist group,
exactly right.
But not necessarily ISIS, because there's a real problem there. He wrote an important column on CNN.com today, and let me just read a line from it because it's provocative. As long as our border isn't secure, you write, the government is making it far too easy for terrorists to infiltrate our nation. Here's the question. Is there credible intelligence information that ISIS is trying to infiltrate the United States through the border with Mexico, shall we say?
Look, there are reports, and they're unconfirmed right now, of ISIS activity along the southern border. I can't say right now there's credible, concrete intelligence. But what's clear is ISIS wants to project terror.
This guy should not even be hosting his own show on WorldNet Daily. Never mind being a U.S. senator and a front runner for the presidential ticket for the Republicans. The question was there credible evidence? The answer is no. Not like, look, we've had reports. I mean, there was...
Well, there's non-credible evidence.
There's non-credible evidence. I mean, someone found a soccer jersey. A militiaman found a soccer jersey, but that's not important. All I'm going to do is I'm going to float this idea so that I can get an email blast out of it that there may be ISIS people on the Mexican border. But look, let me just tie this all in together. The ISIS definitely wants to attack the United States, even though our intelligence people have said they represent no imminent threat in that regard. But we know they're brown. Mexicans are brown. You do the math, Wolf. Thank you for printing my piece on CNN.com.
Into the United States. Now, right now, they're consumed with this battle in Iraq. But if they're allowed to consolidate power, they will soon can be expected to want to project terror here.
They can soon be expected to want to project terror here. It is
one day they may want to
the
think
idea
about, perhaps,
that a media outlet would allow this guy to go on there and spew that stuff, where literally a 14-year-old kid who listens to this program could pull that everything that man said apart in about 30 seconds is just I don't know. It's crazy.